Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to attempt to put the trolley onto the car and mount it on the chassis rails. I brought myself a hat because getting sparks and other junk in your hair and hitting your head on edges is not so much fun. Let's get to work. So here it is, frame and the trolley. Sick wheels, bro. So what you see right now is we're doing the measurements so we can do the chassis rail. We're going to probably do a template first before we make a finished one. We have limited amounts of tools and we need to make the best out of what we can, but I think we can make it. Getting the old isolation off is a pain in the, and the shoulders were hurt a little bit, but don't forget about your eye protection because this stuff goes everywhere and it's almost certain that you're going to get some of it in the eye. This is what we're cleaning off, this old protection, and you can see we have two kinds of it. Reference point, you see this edge? How big of a difference between the cleaned one and uncleaned one is, the thickness. So it really helps that you clean off this junk so you can have an accurate measurement when doing a template. So we have a little bit more to go, but we're doing a pretty good job. So what we've done here is take thick wire and make the line of the contours so we can do a nice round corner where it needs to be, such as here. Now we're going to thicken up this metal so it will hold its shape, because once you let it go, the elastic deformation is still placed a little bit. So yeah, this is the plan now, to get this and then move on to make a chassis rail template on which we can then make metal parts. The weld will deform the wire a little bit so it will hold its position even when we let go of the clamps, so we should have the contour nice. This is the finished product with two wires welded together. This now holds the shape so it doesn't bounce because of elastic deformation. So if we put it on, you can see that it follows the contour very good, so we can then make a template and replacement chassis rail. Now the chassis rail is different on the inside because the edge is folded into the engine bay, whereas on the other side, the outer side, it's folded up and welded on the wheel well, but this contour follows it nicely here. So the difference is just where you bend the edge. If you're doing this with a chisel, have a very low angle to the metal so you don't go perpendicular, so you don't bend metal underneath. So we now have a finished template here for this chassis rail. We also did a few spots because we have an additional one for this hole here, so we can have the measurements. Now we're going to proceed to working on the driver's side chassis rail. We're going to cut it to see what's the state of the inner reinforcement. As you can see here, we have a hole through both. We're going to cut to get to the healthy stuff and then we can move on. This is the assembly of the chassis rail. You have an outer layer, then the inside one here, the inner one and the outer one are actually touching on the whole surface. So probably this is what leads to this type of corrosion. We have a bush here for the bolt that holds the front axle. So yeah, this needs to go in the trash. Okay, we have reached the end of our work today. We have opened up the inside cross beam thingy and we found out it pretty much rusted out on both sides, so we're going to have to repair that. We have also cut out the chassis rail to see how much rust it is on the inside and how much of it will have to be repaired or replaced. The stores should open up on Monday with stuff like this, so hardware stores. We will try to get some materials for Manta that day. So now it's time to go to shopping and buy more metal parts so we can fabricate these beams and chassis rails. The main thing is that you measure the thickness of original parts, so you have an idea of how strong these parts should be, because these after all are structural parts that needs to be strong in case you have an accident. This stuff will absorb a lot of energy in head-on collision, so they need to be fairly strong. So yeah, it needs to be done in the fashion that it would hold up, and so it's correct. But for now, it's the end of our journey today. As you can see, we have the axles out, so that's pretty amazing. The trolley and the frames are finished, so you can see them here. This is the setup to mount the Manta. It has been measured diagonally, width and length, so it will hold up the original measurements from the manufacturer, because the measurements right now are after all the repairs and stuff that's been done to it, and with falling apart from us, we cannot trust the measurements of the car now. This is it, yeah, for today. Thank you so much for joining in. We will see you in the next episode. Bye.